Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube today. Hello, friends. Your ridiculously overgood brother, Anthony Florio here, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher, the phenom Michael Bullock, the twisted angel Didi Woodson. Oh, my goodness. What a night here tonight. One of the things Monday Night Raw was known for last year was putting together newsworthy shows when they wanted to. Well, tonight, probably the most newsworthy Monday Night Raw, maybe since the Raw in Providence a few months ago. Man, oh man. In the immortal words of Gorilla Monsoon and MF, history was made and then some here tonight. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this. Monday Night Raw live tonight from the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee, the home of the Memphis Grizzlies, exclusively on the USA Network as always. Mr. McMahon arrives in the stretch limousine. How many times have we seen that over the years? And Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman comes out and he cuts a promo, and then he got interrupted by Baron Corbin, and then Strowman chases Corbin all around, and Elias did a little song in the back and told him that Corbin was hiding in Vinnie Mac's limo. Well, then Strowman destroys the limo, he breaks the window, and then he rips the door off, literally off the hinges. Corbin runs away, and then, Braun. The boss saw all of it. And when you destroy a piece of property of Miss McMahon's, you think he's gonna let that go unpunished? Oh no. He fines Braun Strowman $100,000, and then Strowman says, $100,000 for this? This ain't even worth $100,000. And Vinnie Mac's like, okay, well, you want to raise your voice? Well, how about this? Your Universal Championship match with Brock Lesnar? Forget it. You're gone. You're out. You think Braun Strowman's going to take that lying down? Oh, no. In another one of his vintage freakish shows of strength, he takes that limo and he flips that son of a gun over. But all I know, Braun Strowman out. Well, here's the real story. He hasn't fully healed from that injury yet. So they had no choice. If they want to send the right message, Vince will basically tell Strowman he better make it worthwhile by getting his hands on Corbin. It would be ridiculous to cast the McMahons or anyone else as a heel authority figure, given how burnt out the fans seem to be on that concept. The good news is that Strowman must be medically clear, given that he manhandled multiple people in that segment, but realistically, he wasn't. Live crowd didn't go as nuts for the latest Strowman stunt. Bullock and I, during our Raw chat, we loved it. But aside from Vince's involvement, this had a quote-unquote been there, done that feel to it. Not sure what's up with Strowman being pulled from the match. It's obviously that he has not been cleared. Derek Ferreira posted something on Facebook today. Maybe he's cleared for some basic manhandling and not an actual match. But, it is what it is. Strowman is out. But, what happened later in the night? There's nothing more to say on this. I mean, the segment was fine for what it was. Strowman, I think, was a little bit better here. He had a bad week last week. He flubbed his lines and the whole 9 yards. But say what you want, but it's obvious he's not cleared yet. So he's out. So I don't know if you guys want to weigh in on this or if you just want to move on. That's okay. It's not a problem. So
I'll jump in on this. I want to get my 2 cents on it. It stinks. I mean, that's the best way to say it. I know a lot
yeah.
of people want to see Strowman fight for the Universal title. They've been wanting him to be the champion for a long time now, but an injury is an injury, and you got to be at 100%. I understand WWE's trying to protect him in this situation, And if he's not at 100%, like they've been saying, then there's no need to rush him out there and to do what they got to do. Yes, it is predictable that they did the car flip and everything else and the whole 9 yards. And it also was not shocking that Vince laid down the law and basically said, sorry, Strowman, you did this. You're not going to Rumble. You're out. So maybe that opens the door for him to maybe be at the Royal Rumble match. I mean, yeah, I know that's kind of a little bit out there, but you gotta at least think about it in that realm, because at least in a Royal Rumble match, you can actually protect him. Obviously, he's not going to be the number 30 because that's R-Truth. Have him come out at number 29, be a monster, destroy everything in sight. And then if R-Truth comes in number 30, well, sorry, Truth, we already know you're not going to win the Rumble. So I could see an instance where you have Strowman win the Royal Rumble, and that protects him, gives him the opportunity to fight at the main event of WrestleMania for whatever belt he chooses. Because that's also the other caveat, is that whoever is the champion is going to have to deal with the Royal Rumble winner. Doesn't necessarily have to be for the Universal title. He could go after the WWE Championship, but I think we're all in agreement. They'll probably want to put the Universal title on him sooner rather than later. So best way to do it is do it this way. Nothing more to say, Florio.
All right. So yeah, it is what it is. So I don't know if Bullock or Didi want to get involved, or if you just want to move on, it's okay. So
I'll jump in on it too.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think when I read that post that Derek Ferrera put, when they said it looked like the Universal title match was going to get pulled, I figured they were going to do something, because like in that report, Strowman was not 100%, and they obviously needed to do something to take Strowman off of there, and I think this was it. So who knows if he's out of the Royal Rumble completely, or if they might find something else for him. So who knows? So yeah, and he destroyed that limo, and basically he got punished for what he did. So yeah, it is what it is, and yeah, it was a nice way to write Strowman out. So yeah, there's nothing more to say. So that's all I got to say on it. So let's just move right along.
Yeah. One of the few low points of the night, but don't worry, it will get better here, believe it or not. So, and we're gonna kick it off with our first match of the night. This was one of the two big matches that were promoted for this show tonight. Women's tag team action. Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and her challenger at the Royal Rumble, Sasha Banks, squaring off against Nia Jax and Tamina. Ronda Rousey and Sasha Banks win the match, 10 minutes and 10 seconds. A Banks statement by Sasha Banks on Tamina for the win. And then afterwards, the tensions flared. Charlie Caruso got in there for, a post-match interview with Ronda and Sasha, and Ronda put her foot in her mouth, and it only incited the boss. And, well, it was boss time. That's all I can say on that. And then it spilled over to the backstage, where their respective besties, Bayley and Natalya, tried to play peacemakers, but to no avail. And that leads into a big women's match later in the night, which we will definitely address. So 10 minutes and 10 seconds, Ronda and Sasha get the win. So MF, I mean, you weren't on the show last week, but I'm very curious. What do you think about Ronda and Sasha squaring off at the Rumble?
I think it's a good matchup. Sasha Banks, definitely proven winner, a former multi-time champion. And this is going to be a good matchup. There's a little change of pace for Ronda Rousey to get somebody in the caliber of Sasha Banks. Sasha definitely deserves the opportunity. Happy to see that she is getting the shot for the title, and she'll get it in Arizona at Chase Field at the Royal Rumble. And as far as the match goes, this was pretty good, solid fight, about 2.5 stars for me. I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of people were thinking, oh, is this, what could this be or anything else? But like you said, it led to some fireworks. It definitely led to some tempers flaring, and it exploded later on in the evening. So, I mean, it was a good matchup, solid fight, but it definitely gives a little bit of that momentum between Sasha and Ronda, and that's something that they definitely would need. But now, going onward, because of the fact of with WrestleMania coming around, and of course there's a lot of rumors about what could happen at the Royal Rumble, so we'll just have to wait and see, because I honestly think, guys, and this is just me, I don't think Ronda's walking out of Arizona with the women's title, because there's two people on SmackDown Live that wants a shot at Ronda. One's the queen, the other one's the man. I think one of the two is going to screw over Ronda Rousey and cost her the Raw Women's title. I think Sasha Banks is going to WrestleMania with the title in hand. That's just my general prediction, but we'll wait for that on another day. So nothing more to say, Michael Bullock. I give it to you. 2.5 stars for the fight.
Yeah, I'll give it about 2.5 stars as well. I mean, I think this was a good match. I mean, but yeah, I mean, what happened afterwards was, yeah, I mean, Ronda Rousey, well, she put her foot in her mouth, and yeah, Sasha Banks says, you know what, it's boss time, and she basically let Ronda have it, and it continued backstage, and oh Nelly. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this match. So yeah, there's nothing more to say. So I'm just gonna give it to Dee Woodson.
Yeah, I'll say it's 2.5 star match. Yeah, I would say this ended in almost like a cat fight, I guess you could say. You know, battle of words between Ronda and Banks, and then you get in the back, and I mean, it got even worse. But yeah, you know, we've all been in that position where you're out there and you're talking, and then you know your little filter brain thing doesn't always work, and you say something that you don't exactly mean. And that's kind of where Ronda was trying to say that she was with Banks, and of course Banks, um, being who she is, wasn't going to hear it. And then you get in the back, and Natty's saying, "Well, you know, your best friend's dumping you now for this title fight, Bayley." And then you know everything breaks loose when the Riot Squad walks up. So yeah, it's was definitely you know a new storyline, I think, building here. Definitely, I think it's leading to what we're going to be seeing soon with the women's tag titles coming up. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
And we will address those women's tag team championships later in the night. But yes, solid 2.5 star match. You know, your typical TV quality match. That's all there is to say there. And you know, predictable outcome. And yeah, there were no hints of issues between Rousey and Banks during the match, which ended with yet another predictable loss for Tamina. But the post-match exchange did give the match some much-needed tension going in. So we'll see how that emerges very interesting scenario there, MF. But it is your opinion, so we'll have to wait and see on that. So nothing more to say here. Of course, we have to include a cutout here because what is this show without cutouts? The Revival against the Lucha House Party. The Revival actually win the match in 4 minutes and 10 seconds. The conspiracy theory continues here. Vitalik had his foot on the rope, but Wilder pushed the foot off and got the win. So, the broadcast team spent the match talking about how the Revival believe there's a conspiracy. And it sounds like someone has been watching The Kingdom and Ring of Honor for inspiration. Of all the things to be inspired by an ROH, and they go with that dreadful storyline. By the way, I'm not sure if the live crowd actually, I want to back that up a bit. Not sure what the live crowd thought of it, but, is what it is. So we're just going to move on. This is a spoiler. There's a little bit of a spoiler alert here. What happens next is the segment of the night right here. Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon comes out, and, he was going to address the Universal situation now that Strowman is out. And just as he was about to speak, here comes John Cena. John Cena throws his hat into the ring. And then he gets interrupted by Drew McIntyre. McIntyre states his case. Baron Corbin states his case. And then Finn Balor shows up. And then when all was said and done, all hell breaks loose. And then Mr. McMahon's like, you know what? I love it. Let's have a fatal four-way match. John Cena, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Baron Corbin, and the winner of the match will face Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. Michael Bullock, whoa. Nothing left to say here. This was the segment of the night.
Oh, yeah, this was definitely the segment of the night here. We were all wondering who was going to replace Strowman to face Lesnar for the Universal title. John Cena comes out, basically was explaining why he should be in there. And then Drew McIntyre basically comes out and says he wants to be in it and basically talks trash with John Cena. And then Baron Corbin says he deserves an opportunity. And then, of course, Finn Balor, says he deserves it because he never lost the Universal title. And then, let's just say, Florio, that he went there with Mr. McMahon, basically saying, you know what? You never believed in me, but these people believed in me. And you want to see ruthless aggression? Well, here it is. And then clocks Baron Corbin, and then Cena gets in there, and then Drew McIntyre hits a claymore on John Cena, and that's when McMahon's basically saying, you know what? Let's do it. We got John Cena, Baron Corbin, Finn Balor, and Drew McIntyre for the right to face Brock Lesnar for the Universal title at the Royal Rumble. So, yeah, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. Segment of the night, or I give it, Dee Woodson, I give it to you.
Yeah, definitely segment of the night. John Cena started his career doing exactly what he did tonight, ruthless aggression. And, of course, tonight he brought that back up. And in my opinion, I didn't think Corbin even deserved to be out there because he was the reason this is all happening. But that's my opinion. But it is what it is. Still, it was a really great segment. The backstage segment after it kind of ties into it, but it also ties into a match a little bit later on in the night too. So, where Vince and Jinder talk. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. I'm going to toss it over to Florio.
Yeah, so much came out of this segment. A vintage John Cena promo. He brings up ruthless aggression. Wow. I had flashbacks to that SmackDown in 2002 when he made his debut against Kurt Angle. I mean, I had flashbacks, I gotta admit. McIntyre, amazing again. I'm surprised he didn't do the whole Chosen One thing. Corbin, being the like he always is, and then Finn Balor. Talking about, you remember, about a year ago at this time, he was considered for a shot at Lesnar, and he got passed over, and Vince said it was because he wasn't over enough. Then went on this quest to show that he was over. Well, let's just say he was ridiculously over here tonight. But it has been well over a decade since Vince dropped the ruthless aggression line, and they just won't let it die. And it's just not as special as people in the company seem to think it is. But all I can say is that was a hell of a segment. I mean, all four men stated their cases. Vinnie Mac, setting it all up. So who's going to face Lesnar? Well, you'll have to find out in a little bit. So there's really nothing more to say on this. So MF, I mean, oh my goodness, what whole lot of craziness in this segment. I mean, ruthless aggression being dropped. You were getting flashbacks.
Here's the thing. It's all about the Universal title. It's all about the one that wants the shot at being the champion going into WrestleMania. This is the road to WrestleMania, folks. Once that clock on New Year's night turned to January 1, 2019, everybody's eye is on Mania. Everybody wants to go to MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The first major step is the Royal Rumble at Chase Field. This is the golden ticket that you need to get into that fray. You win the Universal title or win the Royal Rumble, you stamp that ticket to WrestleMania, guarantee. So everybody wants a shot. Everybody wants to impress the boss. And that's as good as you can get. McIntyre has a gripe. Cena has a gripe because Cena is one of the all-time greats. Finn Balor definitely deserves an opportunity. He's never gotten another opportunity at the Universal Championship. And I agree with Dee Woodson. I don't understand why Baron Corbin is sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. He has not done anything relevant to make him at least a contender for the belt. You got three guys who are legit contenders, and then Corbin's just there because he wants to be there. So at the end of the day, this is how you do it. So definitely great way to get the major brouhaha going, and I like it. I loved it. So nothing more to say. Florio, go.
And we move on to a 6-woman tag team matchup. All three members of the Riot Squad against Bayley, Natalya, and their mystery partner, who, I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be Ember Moon, the whole predictability thing. Oh no. Here comes some more newsworthiness. The twisted sister of NXT, and one of MF's personal favorites, Nikki Cross. Now, here's the thing. Don't get excited, Raw fans. I mean, I'll admit it. I was excited. I thought Nikki Cross was going to be exclusive to Monday Night Raw. That would have been a major shot in the arm. But Michael Cole on commentary said that the new faces that are going to be coming, they're going to be appearing on both shows. The call-ups will be on both shows so that the fans can see what they are all about. Even though most of us already know what they're all about from watching NXT. I mean, but when all was said and done on that, the winners of the match in 11 minutes and 55 seconds, Bayley, Natalya, Nikki Cross. Bayley scored the fall on Liv Morgan after Nikki Cross performed the neck breaker. So I believe it's Dee Woodson who starts it off on this. I mean, it's only fitting because she is our resident women's wrestling expert here. So Dee, don't get excited about Nikki Cross being permanent on Raw. All the new NXT call-ups are going to be on both shows, so we can all get a glimpse, and then we'll see what happens from there. So what do you think about all that?
Hey, I'm game for it. From the NXTs I've watched with her, I mean, she's really impressed me. I like Nikki. I like the craziness that she brings, especially during the time when Aleister Black was attacked, and she kept saying, "Well, he's coming," talking about Gargano, who actually did the attack. So, I've already fallen in love with this little girl. No matter which show she ends up on, I mean, she's going to be a game changer, and I think the Riot Squad definitely got a huge taste of Miss Cross tonight and exactly what she can bring to the table. Because the minute they introduced her, if you scan the three, out of the three, I think Liv Morgan was the one who was a little bit the most intimidated and showed the most fear of what was getting ready to happen. She had I think out of the three, she had a harder time hiding that emotion. But hey, I personally, really enjoyed the match because this was definitely a different matchup. Definitely, what the McMahons promised. Us having different people facing each other and everything, and then having Nikki brought up that that just cemented the whole deal. It may have, it may be a triple threat, with at least 5 of the normal players out there, but you've got the wild card and Nikki out there. So I'm actually going to give it 2 to 2.5. Because I really thought this was different. This was really good. I liked seeing, the wild card that they brought out on this, because the first thing I was thinking, okay, they're going to throw Amber Moon in there or somebody else. So seeing them actually put her in there, that just made the match. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Floyd, what's yours?
I'm just happy they didn't try to pass off Ember Moon as the surprise opponent again. It was nice to see Nikki Cross, and she was given plenty of time in the match to get over her frantic style. So when do we find out when the NXT talent is tied to one brand or the other? I guess they can just announce that whenever they feel like it. The approach does feel a little odd, though. But nonetheless, I mean, there was a backstage moment and EC3 was there. He didn't get a reaction at all. I'm very surprised, considering how over he was in TNA. But, it is what it is. But I'm going to give this another solid 2.5 stars for the effort. I mean, maybe even 3. I mean, it was a fine effort for what it was. And a rare moment of unpredictability as Nikki Cross makes her debut. Well, this is not her first time. I mean, you remember back in November on SmackDown Live in England when she went after Becky Lynch and the infamous "I'll play with you, Becky." Yeah, we all remember that. And I know MF had chills up and down his spine and his heart was racing a zillion miles an hour during that moment. But it is what it is. So solid 2.5. So MF, I mean, I'm sure at first when you saw Nikki Cross, you're like, oh no, she's going to be on Raw. She was supposed to be on my show.
I was thinking it that way too, but if this is the way that it's gonna go, because honestly, and I'm gonna be real honest with you, I think Lacey Evans is gonna end up going to Monday Night Raw. I don't know why. I just feel like they're gonna split the girls, so one goes to Raw, one goes to SmackDown. I think Lacey Evans is probably the better fit for Monday Night Raw. You could probably pair her up with Alexa Bliss, and from there, you could have her become the next, basically, because she has that attitude. She has a Bliss-like attitude. She's better than everybody else, that she is on top of the world, and that basically she's got this look of her that reminds me of Alexa Bliss. So I think that would be a perfect fit for her. Let Alexa take Lacey under the wing a little bit, and maybe that'll be the little project that they'll do for her until Alexa gets fully healthy and back in action. As far as seeing Nikki Cross, she was a dynamo. She was amazing in NXT. Yeah, she had a very impressive performance against Becky Lynch in that fight in England on SmackDown, and now here she is. But a lot of people it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. I thought this was a solid fight, nice showcase for Nikki, and we'll go from there. But yeah, no, very impressive here tonight. Nothing more to say about maybe 2 stars. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give it about 2 stars as well. I mean, I thought Nikki Cross looked good here, and we all thought she was going to be on Raw. But the thing is, I mean, those superstars that they mentioned that were going to be on the way up to the main roster, they're going to be on both shows, and then that's going to decide where they go. I mean, to me, in my personal opinion, I think Nikki Cross is going to end up on SmackDown Live because, well, obviously you still have Sanity that's there, so we'll wait and see how that goes. And then, like you said, maybe Lacey Evans ends up on Monday Night Raw. So yeah, I thought this was a good solid six woman tag. I mean, nothing really amazing to write home about. So 2 stars is my rating. So let's just move on.
Alrighty. Then we had a backstage moment. Jinder Mahal was out there, and Vince McMahon was there too. And Jinder was like, "Why didn't you consider me for the 4-way? I mean, I'm one of the greatest WWE champions of all time." Not. Let's not kid ourselves. Worst one ever. That's all I'm saying. My opinion alone. But nonetheless, he sweet talked the boss into giving him a match. And Vince was like, "Here's what we'll do. You can choose any of the 4 men to face in a match. And if you win, you get added to that match. You replace him." And Jinder goes after Finn Balor. So that leads to the match. Finn Balor, Jinder Mahal. 9.5 minutes, the time of the fall. Finn Balor gets the win. So with all that being said, I mean, 2 to 2.5 is pretty much all I can give it. They tried to put Balor in the position to overcome the pre-match attack, but none of us really bought it. So between Vinnie Mac questioning Balor earlier and now Balor being forced to work an extra match, it definitely raised his stock going into the 4-way. So I could probably give this maybe another 2.5, probably, because, you know, it's not often we say this, but he actually got a passable match out of Jinder. I mean, it's not often that a guy can do that. I mean, AJ Styles was one of the other handful of guys that actually got a good match out of this guy. So give it up to Finn Balor. That's all I can say on that. So 2.5 for the effort. Nothing more to say. MF, Balor had to work an extra match, so that definitely raised his stock going into the 4-way.
Well, obviously it raises his stock, but does it help him in the long run? That's the main question, and we'll get into that later in the night. At the end of the day, yes, it was a nice win for Balor. It makes him look really strong going in, but again, does it help in the long term? Does it help in the long run? If it does, then great. If it doesn't, then that's just an absolute waste of time for Balor. But, you know, we'll wait and see what happens. It was definitely a nice performance. Big win for him, and nothing more to say. So, Bullock, I give it to you. And I do agree with the 2.25. I'm going to give it 2.25 stars instead of 2.5.
Yeah, I'll give it 2.25 stars as well. I mean, this was a good match. I mean, nothing really special to write home about, but it does make Finn Balor look strong. And I mean, yeah, and I do agree. I mean, if he had lost this match, then this to me would have been a total waste of time, and it would have made Finn Balor look like an absolute joke. So, yeah, nothing more to say. I'm just going to give it to Dee Dee Woodson.
Yeah, I'll give it 2.25 stars. It was it was a fairly good match. So, and it's kind of surprising because we all know, Jinder is one of the worst competitors on Raw, and I agree he was the worst champion we've had. Next to Brock Lesnar, who's never around, but that's a whole different ball game there. But yeah, this definitely, was good that we got Balor into that main event, but at the same time, it's also his chance to definitely prove to Vince that he's ready for for his chance to regain what he never lost. And so there's not much more I'm going to say about it. Floor, it's yours.
Now to the other big match that they promoted on this edition of Raw tonight, a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Dean Ambrose, defending the title against Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley. When all was said and done, winner of the match in 13 minutes and 10 seconds, and the new Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, the almighty Bobby Lashley. It had been 11 years and 7 months since he held the championship in WWE when he held the ECW championship. Also a former United States heavyweight champion. But nonetheless, the almighty one can now call himself Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. 13 minutes and 10 seconds. He gets the spear on Ambrose for the win after Lio Rush, low bridge, Seth Rollins. So nothing more to say on this except MF. In the immortal words of you and Gorilla Monsoon, you know what happened.
History was made tonight in Memphis, Tennessee. Sure, indeed. Look, there's nothing more to say. By hook or by crook, Bobby Lashley is the new Intercontinental Champion. Congratulations to him. And, I got to say, he's now in, rarefied air, man. You can say whatever you want to say. ECW Heavyweight Champion. He had the Intercontinental title. He had the United States Championship. I think the only belt he's missing for a Grand Slam would be he was missing the tag titles. I don't think he was ever a tag team champion. So, and yes, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, he wasn't a Universal or WWE champion, so technically that doesn't count. But whenever you're a world champion in any company, that should count as one. So he had that. And plus, he also was a former multi-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So his legacy or his body of work is definitely recognizable in professional wrestling. Bobby Lashley has done a lot. And, they have done a really decent job ever since pairing him up with the Weasel known as Lio Rush. But hey, you can say whatever you want to say about Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush, but this partnership has really worked in spades. When it first started, Bobby Lashley kind of lost his way. Nobody really took him very credibly. Next thing you know, they turned him heel, gave him Lio Rush, and now all of a sudden, Bobby Lashley's really exploded. Had a couple of missteps along the way, but now he's hit the ultimate dream. He's hit the gold, and that's the Intercontinental title. And let me tell you guys, it does not matter what belt it is. When you win the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, back in the day, that used to be the stepping stone to the world title. Now with Lashley in possession of that belt, maybe this might be a sign for things to come for him in 2019. Hopefully this will be a nice little place setter for him to propel him to maybe a Universal title or a WWE title moment for him later on in the year. But I gotta say it, and I know I'm gonna annoy the living daylights out of Bullock and Didi Woodson, but I gotta do it. Lashley, 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 Lashley. Congratulations, champ. Well done. And he also beat Dean Ambrose. So to pin the actual champion, that means you are the real champion. No paper champion because of the third wheel on this one. Two and a quarter, 2.5 stars. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Lashley, Lashley, Lashley is the Intercontinental Champion. Bullock, it's all yours.
Oh my gosh. Did we really have to hear that? I don't know what else is there to say. I mean, 2.25 stars. I mean, I could even go lower than that because of that little idiot known as Leo Rush, who literally had no business being involved in this match. I mean that just goes to show you, Bobby Lashley, he can't win a match alone. He has to have that little idiot Leo Rush try to help him win a match. I mean, what does that tell you? I mean, I don't know what else is there to say. I mean, 2.25. I could even go lower and give it 2. So nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours. Like we needed to hear that crap.
Oy vey, Kaviltovish. Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Leo Rush is an idiot. He's definitely the scum of the earth. Bottom feeder, whatever you want to call him. But, you know, 3-way, there's no DQ, so legally he can get involved. Nothing we can really say or do about it. And, of course, he did several times get involved. As for a rating, I guess I'll go about 2.5. Not much more I'm going to say about it. You know, congratulations to Lashley, but, you know, it is what it is with Leo Rush getting involved. So, it's yours, Florio.
Yeah. Second best fight of the night for me. I'm going to give this about 3.25 to 3.5 stars. I told Michael Bullock going into this during our Raw chat that I was going to have a bold prediction. Matter of fact, I had 2 bold predictions. This was one of them. I actually had Bobby Lashley walking out as the new Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, and look what happened. So I know there are some out there that will call this a mild surprise, but I'm not surprised, actually. They've been doing a much better job with Lashley and now Rush. I'm not opposed to this by any means, because now it frees up Seth Rollins to go after the Universal Championship and Brock Lesnar most likely at WrestleMania. And I'm not sure what comes next for Ambrose, though I am very positive, 100% positive, he will go after Seth Rollins again when and if Seth Rollins becomes the Universal Champion. Dean Ambrose hasn't really been off to that hot of a start as a heel, but he is still a star. And the title does more for the Lashley and Rush act than it was doing for Ambrose. And we'll see if it's going somewhere. So 3.25, 3.5 stars, second best fight of the night. This was a really good match and great action all around. And wow, big moment. So, well, the newsworthiness continues, because then we had Alexa Bliss with her Moment of Bliss segment. I'm just going to give you another spoiler alert. This was far better than last week. Her guest was Paul Heyman, but before that, she made a big announcement. In 5 weeks, at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which will be at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, we're going to crown the first WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. How are they going to do that? Very simple. 3 teams from Raw, 3 teams from SmackDown Live, and they are going to compete inside the Elimination Chamber. And the winning team will walk out of Houston as the inaugural WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. And if that doesn't, you thought it couldn't get better than that, oh, it does. Enter Paul Heyman. Heyman talking about how Strowman is out and Lesnar is now going to have a new challenger at the Royal Rumble for the Universal Championship. And then all of a sudden, we see MF's boy, Otis, from Heavy Machinery, and then Tucker Knight tried to, get him out of there. But Otis, being the, I don't know what the word is, but I know MF's going to have something on that. But Adam Pearce and, the referees and the Gestapo security guards got him out of there, and then it led into the main event. But we also got to see the inaugural Women's Tag Team Championship belts. So with all that being said, Michael Bullock, we started with you here. Another segment of the night here. This Moment of Bliss segment, far better than last week. We got to see the women's tag team titles. Heyman was there. And we also got to see the Heavy Machinery. So all in all, second best segment of the night. You could even make an argument for segment of the night if you wanted to.
Yeah, it was the second best segment of the night here. We got to see the women's tag team titles. All I can say is I cannot wait for the Elimination Chamber to find out who is going to be carrying those titles. A lot of people I could think of that could be favorites. One of them, could be Nia Jax and Tamina, or it could be Sasha and Bayley, or, well, who knows? We'll wait and hear who's going to be in it from Raw and SmackDown Live. So, yeah, as far as the segment goes, I thought it was a good one with Heyman. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more that needs to be said. So I'm just going to give it to Dee Dee Woodson.
Yeah, it was a fairly good segment. Definitely better than last week. I think Heavy Machinery coming out was definitely a little bit of a comic relief to kind of cool everybody down before you got to the main event. But yeah, it was fairly good. It was nice to see the titles finally know when we're gonna finally have these titles crowned. It is going to be interesting to see who all they put in. From the top of your head, you can at least think of maybe two from each show that could possibly be in there. Maybe the whole match, but we'll just have to wait and see exactly who they decide to stick into this Elimination Chamber for this title. So yeah, I'll definitely go with the second best segment of the night on this one. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Roy, it's yours.
Wow. All I can say is the women's tag belts look good. And I'm surprised they're going with one set of tag champions. While they could add additional teams later, I do like the idea of floating champions between the brands. And, I thought maybe they were going to have a tournament or something, a la the Mixed Match Challenge on Facebook Live, but I have no complaints about this whatsoever. 6-way elimination chamber tag match to determine the first champions. Meanwhile, Heavy Machinery, especially Otis, didn't get much of a reaction from the live crowd. There are some NXT fans down there, but the majority of the live crowd, they're not treating those call-ups like stars. So that's just a little something I needed to address. Heyman was money as always. You can never go wrong with Heyman. But this segment was really more about, the big announcement of how we're going to determine the women's tag team champions, and not only that, but we actually got to see the belts. We didn't even have to wait until the chamber. We got to see the belts up close and personal. Awesome. That's all I can say on that. So this was the other big segment of the night here, along with that McMahon segment with all those competitors earlier. So Nothing more to say, MF. I mean, whoa, how about this? What another newsworthy moment here. Elimination Chamber match to determine the inaugural Women's Tag Team Champions. How about it?
Yeah, no, definitely a great moment for women's wrestling as we know it. They're setting the bar really high, lofting it very high, making it history making too. First time ever that the women will be in a tag team elimination chamber match. The men have done it before, now the ladies get to do it, and not only that, but to make it more historic by adding the fact that the titles will be on the line as well. So I mean, this is going to be a very interesting situation. As far as the teams go, I kind of feel like right now, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities here. You could maybe put the Riot Squad as one of the six. You could also talk about maybe Mickie James and Alicia Fox could be one on that side. Of course, the Hug and Boss connection with and then on the other side, I think I have the three in mind that I would use, and that is if you're gonna do it on SmackDown Live, it's the Iconics.
Definitely.
You could probably say Absolution, which is
yes.
you can't discount them. And then that last team, I mean, it's a virtual crapshoot. You could fit anybody for that final spot. So I don't know who it's gonna be for the final spot. I know obviously it probably will not be Charlotte or Becky because they'll probably want her to go after Ronda Rousey. It won't be Naomi and Asuka because Asuka is currently the reigning and defending SmackDown Women's Champion. Maybe Naomi and Carmella? I mean, that's the only other people that I could think of, at least when it comes to SmackDown Live. So, I mean, or they might bring somebody up. I don't know. I just don't know where that last tag team's going to come from. But obviously, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose is one. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay is another on SmackDown Live. Those two are absolute. You could pencil them in right now, put them in ink, and they'll be in there. For Monday Night Raw, I think there's more of a clear cut who they might use when it comes to Raw. I think Raw's got a more deeper lineup than SmackDown does. So that's my feeling goes for that. But it is great to see the belts finally in its finished form. It looks very nice. I gotta admit, I was a little skeptical about what it was going to look like. I think they did a very good job with it. So kudos to WWE for the belts. And no, I think this was a very good segment. Now, as far as the buffoons, and yes, I'm calling them the buffoons, known as the heavy machinery. And yes, Anthony, these guys are a bunch of knuckleheads. That's what the key word you were looking for. Okay. Is that this guy was a little bit of a knucklehead. Basically, he's 2 cents away from a freaking Happy Meal, for heaven's sake. That's what this dude is.
How about a Bobby Heenan saying, Captain Schizo?
Well, shoot, man, he ain't no Captain Schizo, but he definitely reminds me of Festus more than anything else.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there's nothing more to say, but yeah, he is comic relief. But let me tell you, when they're in the ring, there is no laughing matter with these boys. These guys are legit tough guys. So, they're be a men when they're in the ring. So nothing more to say about that. Yeah. One fry short of the Happy Meal. Got it, Didi Woodson. Thank you. You knew where I was going. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
As far as that Raw tag team side, you're forgetting a team. Nia and Tamina. Hello.
Granted, but do they really want to? Well, they could get like I said, Raw's pretty much more loaded than SmackDown. So it's kind of, you could pick your 3 for Raw. It's a little more harder to pick your SmackDown. Well, I shouted out 2 right out of the gate. The final team is going to be a little tougher, though.
Very much so. Yeah. If it's me, I would say it's going to be Sasha and Bayley, because honestly, I don't see Sasha beating Ronda at the Rumble, even with MF's little scenario. I don't think so. Nia and Tamina, obviously, you can make them the second, and then the third, I would have to imagine it will be, maybe it could be all 3 members of the Riot Squad. Maybe they can implement the Freebird rule out of the New Day. So, we'll have to wait and see on that. As far as SmackDown is concerned, yes, I agree. Iconics, Absolution, the other teams are tossed up. You obviously would have said Asuka and Naomi, but Asuka is the women's champion, and Naomi and Carmella, that would be an interesting pairing. So, we'll have to wait and see on that. So, but nonetheless, it's going to be historic. I cannot wait for it. Next month in Houston for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view.
You know what?
Don't make that the main event.
I just thought of a team. I didn't think about it, but I just thought of one. A little bit out there, but they have worked together in the past. Lana and Naomi.
That's interesting.
I mean, they have worked together a little bit. I mean, I don't know if they've been doing it together in house shows, so maybe they're the one that gets the final rub. I don't know. I mean, that would be the only other team I could think of, and I just thought of them just a couple of seconds ago.
Or maybe they could surprise us all together. You never know. So we'll find out soon enough. But now it's time for the main event. The Fatal 4-Way #1 contenders match, where the winner will challenge Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship in place of Braun Strowman. It was John Cena, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Baron Corbin. Winner of the match in 18 minutes and 45 seconds. And the #1 contender is Finn Balor. He does it again. The coup de grace, or as our friend Luge once famously called it, the coup de grace on John Cena, and got the 1, 2, 3. So Balor's going to the Rumble. Edie Woodson, Finn Balor definitely the MVP of this show tonight.
Definitely. I would say, by the end of this match, he definitely showed Vince McMahon that he deserves to be the one to go up against Brock Lesnar, and we all saw it firsthand. John Cena extending his hand out, saying, "You now have my support," along with the whole universe. I mean, he knocked it out of the ballpark for 2 whole matches tonight. One with Jinder, and then this Fatal 4-Way. I mean, what more can you say? I mean, that definitely right there knocks it up for being a contender to go up against Brock Lesnar. And, it's been 2 or 3 years now since he's had the title. It's definitely his time, and I don't know how many dirt sheets and, YouTube sheets, if you want to call them that I've heard or read that have said that this is supposed to be Finn's year. So let's actually see if that actually happens, where he actually goes in and defeats Brock Lesnar and actually gives Raw a legitimate champion. Because right now, all their cards are weighing on that Intercontinental Champion, because your main champion just is never around and never defends anything unless it's a major pay-per-view. So, for me, I'm giving this the match of the night, and I'm going to actually hit it with about 4.5 stars. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
And agree to disagree here. I agree it was the fight of the night. I don't think it was quite 4.5 caliber there, Didi, with all due respect. More 4 to 4.25. I think that's the appropriate rating for this match. But nonetheless, it is the fight of the night. This was my other bold prediction that I told Bullock. I actually went with Balor to win this match. Because remember, what did the McMahons say when they took over? Fresh matchups. You ever remember Finn Balor and Brock Lesnar squaring off before? Nope. We're getting it. We're getting it in front of 50,000 or close to 50,000 at Chase Field in a couple of weeks at the Royal Rumble. Balor winning was a bit foreshadowed based on Vince giving him extra attention in that previous segment. Not to mention Balor being forced to jump through the extra hoop known as Jinder Mahal. And Cena took the fall, and then the endorsement completely justified that, and it was well done. I mean, the action was great. I mean, it was definitely a be a man fight. It definitely had that element of Shakespearean drama. And wow, Finn Balor getting the opportunity. This reminds me of that very first Raw of the new era. The first Raw after the brand extension came back. You remember that night. Finn Balor won 2 matches on that night to earn the opportunity to go up against Seth Rollins in the SummerSlam for the Universal Championship. And what happened? Finn Balor won the title. I don't think he's going to win the title here. I think they're going to want Brock to go into Mania as the champion, and I think it's going to be against Seth Rollins, and I think Seth Rollins will be the man to dethrone him come Mania, and then we'll finally, hopefully at that point, we'll finally have that permanent full-time Universal Champion that I and every Raw fan out there has been dying for. We thought it was going to be Roman, but we all know that story, so no need to rehash that. So nothing really more to say on this. Fight of the night, 4 to 4.25 stars. So nothing more to say. MF. The McMahons promised us fresh matchups. Here you go. Finn Balor, the Demon, against the Beast. Can you imagine what those two are going to do in front of 50,000 at Chase Field?
Dude, that's gonna be one hell of a fight. There's really nothing more to say. Great matchup, great battle, and Balor deserves this. He deserves the moment. He deserves the opportunity. He deserves this chance. And yeah, I got nothing else to say. 4.5 stars is my rating for it, and I really got nothing else to say. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give it about 4.5 for the effort. I mean, I thought it was a really good main event. This was definitely the fight of the night, no doubt about it. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we're now getting a fresh match with Brock Lesnar and Finn Balor. So yeah, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. Let's move on, Florio.
The overall review, and then I will be more than happy to start this off. I mean, one of the best Monday Night Raws in a long, long time. I mean, this was probably the most newsworthy, solid, and entertaining Monday Night Raw since the Raw that MF, Bullock, and I went to in Providence back in October. But, oh my gosh, I think it was even better. I mean, I can't remember a Raw that was as newsworthy as this one was. Braun Strowman being removed from the Universal match at the Rumble. Bobby Lashley winning the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Finn Balor carrying the show on his shoulders, winning 2 matches in one night just to get the opportunity. The body of work of the matches were great. The segments were great. The moment of bliss, a huge improvement from last week. Last week was a disaster. This one was far better. And promoting the women's tag team championships and, just everything that came out of this show here tonight. Absolutely well done. We only had 2 cutouts, one, maybe 2 cutouts on the night. That's a low. That's low for Monday Night Raw. That's SmackDown Live like. Usually SmackDown Live averages about 0 to 1 cutouts. We usually average 5 or 6, but we had 1 or 2 on the night. So, man alive. But for this night, I'm definitely going to be biased on this because I am the Raw guy here. If I overrated this, I don't give a damn. It's my opinion alone. I'm sure these guys are probably going to disagree with me on the rating, but I don't care. This was an 8 to 8.5 edition of Monday Night Raw here tonight. Main event was amazing. The triple threat was amazing. The segments came out great. And like I said, nothing on, only like maybe one or two things on the show was really eh. The only real moment of the night was the Revival and the Lucha House Party. But other than that, everything else was solid to good to great. Newsworthiness. That's how you do a Monday Night Raw. SmackDown Live in Birmingham, Alabama tomorrow night. Good luck. You're going to need it. We put you boys on notice tonight. Yes, you have Rey Mysterio against Andrade Cien Almas. That's going to be a hell of a match. But what else do you have? Miz throwing Shane O'Mac a birthday party. We don't do birthday parties on Monday nights. We fight on Monday nights. That's what we do. So we soldiered up and we fought tonight. Way to soldier up, my friends. Well done. Far and away the best Raw since Providence. That's all I can say on that. 8 to 8.5. I'm proud here tonight. This is a proud Papa moment for me. So let's do it again next week for the go-home show for the Rumble. So onward and upward we go to the Royal Rumble. So nothing more to say, MF. Your guys and gals over at SmackDown. Yes, you got Rey and Almas. That's going to be killer. But Miz throwing a birthday party for Shane O'Mac. Oh, goody. Let's break out the balloons and the party hats, for God's sakes.
Well, hold on. Easy on that, because you never know how that can turn out. Obviously, with, Almas and with Rey, that's going to be one thing. Then we got some other matches coming out. Yeah, it's going to be the sky's the limit. So we're going to see where it goes. At the end of the day, it's a great show. It's a great event. I'll give it the 8 out of 10. Yeah, Monday Night Raw was great. This was a tremendous show tonight. There's really nothing to argue it. I mean, you had one cut out. Okay, fine, whatever. And, it at the end of the day, the rest of it was incredible. So what's that going to mean down the forefront? I don't know, but we'll say this. SmackDown, look, you challenge SmackDown time and time again, and every other time we have delivered. I think there's been 1 or 2 times where we messed up and we didn't have a great show, but I'm pretty sure we got something in mind for Monday Night Raw that will with a nice rebuttal. But you had a lot of newsworthy stuff, so obviously, the opportunity is going to be there. You had Nikki Cross. Maybe we counter with Lacey Evans. Maybe EC3 shows up on SmackDown Live and he finally makes his debut. So, I mean, there's a lot to desire and a lot to work on leading into tomorrow's show. So, no, I think SmackDown will be fine. Don't worry about it. I'm happy with what Raw did tonight. Very impressive. Way to go, guys. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I give it to you. 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it about an 8 out of 10 as well. I mean, you only had about 1 to 2 cutouts tonight, but everything else was good to great. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Whitson, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll go about 8 out of 10. Very well done show. Yeah, the one match, pretty lousy. Surprised they didn't do Lucha House Party rules on it, since that's what they seem to have done in the past with Revival and Lucha House Party. And basically, we kind of all knew how the ending was going to go, because it was basically them trying to get revenge for them not saying anything from last week with the foot on the rope bit. So, yeah, everything else seemed to go fairly well. Like I said, I still have the one objection with Corbin being in the main event, but it is what it is. Other than that, not much more I'm going to say about it. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Good night.
All right, good night, Dee Dee. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. MF will set the table on that in just a short, but for right now, Tony's take time, and we're going to talk about 205 Live. And now, I'm not going to be giving you star ratings or anything like that. I'm just going to run down what happened on the show. Same thing with the Impact Wrestling review. So we had Noam Dar against Tony Nese. Noam Dar actually picked up the win. And then the final qualifying match for the Fatal 4-Way, it was Cedric Alexander against Hideo Itami, and Hideo Itami actually wins the match. So yeah, the 4-Way now consists of Buddy Murphy, Kalisto, Akira Tozawa, and Hideo Itami. Those four will square off for the Cruiserweight Championship in that Fatal 4-Way at the Rumble. So definitely another very good 205 Live, without a doubt. Impact Wrestling. Now, I forgot to mention this on last week's show. Impact Wrestling not only has a new day and time, but it also has a new network. It's now on the Pursuit Network. Now, I'm sorry to MF and anybody who has Cox Communications, because I don't believe you can get the Pursuit channel on that. But fear not. I know how much MF loves to use, mobile devices and all that. And I know he's heard of the Twitch application. So you can stream Impact Wrestling on Twitch for those of you who don't have the Pursuit Network. But luckily for me, I actually do have it. So you can check it out Friday nights at 10 p.m. over on the Pursuit Network. So there's really not much to say on that. So what happened was, it was the first show following that, solid Homecoming pay-per-view, and it started off with Johnny Impact calling out Killer Kross, and Killer Kross showed up, and so did Brian Cage, and all hell broke loose. And then we also had Wentz and Dez of the Radicals against the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon and Phoenix. Pentagon and Phoenix won the match. And then you also had Willie Mack against Sami Callihan. Willie Mack won the match. Tessa Blanchard in a squash match against a young lady named Callie Collins. And then the main event was Johnny Impact and Killer Kross in a no disqualification match. Killer Kross got the win there. Actually, I do have some notes on this. The Lucha Brothers against the Radicals, that was a 3 3/4 star match. Mack and Callahan, that was a 3-star match. Tessa and Callie, that was an NA because it was pretty much a squash. Impact and Kross, that was a 3-star match. So that's all I can say on that. It was an 8 out of 10 show for me. After a solid Homecoming, it delivered. Moose and Kross joining backup is a nice to pull on a fairly recent affiliation, since Johnny promised Cage a shot after he dealt with Kross. And I feel we're going to get Johnny Cage and Killer Moose in some combination over the next few weeks. Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards most likely colliding is nice, since they are both former world champions. You'd have to figure the winner of that feud to be positioned back towards the top. OVE's story with Mack and Rich Swann is solid, as well as the Dark Alley and Rosemary stuff. Impact this past week, it felt more like the Attitude Era of WWF and the old TNA. Not sure if it was purposely done because they're taping it from the Asylum or if it's the new model, but it was damn good. And the Twitch stream maxed out around 10,350 viewers and held steady between 8,500 to 9,000 for most of the show. So MF, you'll have to use the Twitch stream if you want to see Impact Wrestling nowadays, because I don't believe Cox Communications has the Pursuit channel, which is where you can find it. It's a hunting and fishing type network, an outdoorsy network, if you will. So we'll just park it there. So the spoilers for this week's show. This is what we can expect. Ethan Page against Eddie Edwards, Jordan Grace against Ali, KM against Caleb Connolly. Not much is going to happen with that. Rich Swann against Trey Miguel, LAX against OVE, and Brian Cage against Moose. So there's your show for this week. Friday night, 10 p.m. on the Pursuit channel, or the Twitch stream for those of you who don't have the Pursuit network. So So that'll put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in to this very newsworthy show indeed. Good old MF Michael Fletcher right on cue. Set the table for the next Cerebral Smack Talk.
Cerebral Smack Talk goes down tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern, a little later than usual, but 10:30 Eastern on Braceman 95, SmackDown Live, and that's all I really got this time around. Last week we had a really wicked loaded Mikey's Mindset. This time around, not so much. So we're gonna just focus on SmackDown Live this week, and it's gonna be an incredible show to say the very least. 10:30 Eastern, Braceman 95. Nothing more to say. Anthony Floyo, take it home.
All right, so that's 10:30 tomorrow night. And then Friday night at 10:30, we will have Strictly Sports. We got a very small docket this week, gentlemen. Tom Thibodeau was fired as the head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll address that. But then after that, it's the double main event. But this is really more of the main event right here, as we will preview the NFC Championship game between the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints, and then the AFC Championship game with the New England Patriots squaring off against the Kansas City Chiefs. Potential to be the greatest conference championship weekend of all time. We got 2 potential 5 stars waiting to happen. So, man, I cannot wait to get into that on Friday night. And then we will close it out with our first NBA power rankings of the year. And that's it. The Tom Thibodeau situation, the conference championships, and then the NBA power rankings. So that's it. So with all that being said, that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on Braceman 95, it's Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and DF from RI 401, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Butcher Poor style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until the Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night, you were watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Zone 25 and YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyo, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.